about to dive into all 7 of Cam Ward's interceptions. I pulled it off the service that I use, so it's not going to be super pristine, but obviously that footage right there is everything you need to see. But I got all 7 interceptions. He threw 1 against Florida, 1 against USF, 2 against Virginia Tech, 1 against Cal, 1 against Duke, and 1 against Wake Forest. Feels like the Cal interception, for those of you guys that remember, that was the one that got a bunch of pub because it was college game day. It was a terrible interception, which we'll dive into. But I think there's just a lot that you can get from interceptions in general. I did the same thing with Drake May last year, and it's funny because in hindsight, I wasn't as high on Drake May as other people were at that time, and I'm still kind of wait and see mode because with his interceptions in college, some of them were ugly. Some of them were like, what are we doing here? And there's a difference between throwing interceptions where you look overwhelmed and you can tell that you're getting information overload by what the defense is giving you or maybe by what the playbook's giving you, and then there's interception where you're trying to just do too much and be super creative. And I feel like the football world has accepted more of the playmaking interceptions. To say it differently, it's almost like we want a little bit of that because it shows a lot of confidence. You know, it's the Patrick Mahomes element where, hey, threw a lot of interceptions in college, some of which were ugly, most of which are when he's trying to do too much. But then you scale it to the NFL, and maybe that quarterback doesn't feel the need to play hero ball. It reins it in. So super intrigued with this. Draft's right around the corner. Let's dive into Cam Ward, all 7 of his interceptions, starting with the first one against Florida here. So right there, you see like the hoppy footwork, and then right there, it's a classic example, just trying to do too much. Let's see it again here. Takes his eyes to the right. He is never strict and disciplined with his drops. That's for sure. He's always casual with his footwork. That is for sure. Right here gets flushed out. Right here's the fine line. So on one side, you love the arm angles, right? You love, hey, the fact that he's trying to make a play. I love the quarterback in me. I love the fact that he's on the road, in the swamp, in a road environment, and has the confidence to try to attack this throw. There's a lot of guys that, I was one of them. You roll out to the left, you're in trouble. You're backed up against the end zone. I'm going to throw this ball away. He's like, screw it. I got the confidence in my arm. I got the confidence to go make this throw. Obviously, it's not the best decision, and it's not an accurate throw. But right here, that's the fine line between with Tennessee taking Cam Ward at number 1. Do you see that throw and you're like, sweet, I can coach him to rein it in so those interceptions don't happen? Or is this cause for concern where you're like, this play right here is what loses you games? This play, thrown an interception deep in opposing territory, it's just a bad decision. It's a very, very fine line there. And one thing that I think goes sometimes underappreciated with Cam Ward, or I guess under-recognized with Cam Ward, and I've been talking about this with some of the Pac-12 folks that I used to work with, because I remember calling Cam Ward's game against Arizona in 2022. And that's when a lot of the narrative was about like, hey, we're trying to build up his confidence. Hey, transferring from Incarnate Ward up to the next level, like, his confidence got shaken a little bit. He wasn't a bad quarterback by no means at all. Everyone can see the talent, but that 2022 season was not clean, was not a season with no valleys, and had to build up that confidence. And he did not have the swagger that he had right now versus Caleb Williams at USC. He had the swagger the very first spring game that he came to USC at. So it's just a different mold of both guys are going to be number 1 picks. Both guys create off platform. Both guys can throw with different arm slots. I would argue Caleb Williams, man, he's always had that swagger. I feel like Cam Ward, he had to grow into that swagger. And so the question to me is, when you get to the next level in the NFL, does he lose that a little bit and go back into a shell? Or, and we've talked about this before, but like, hey, he's only been playing real quarterback for like 5 seasons. Is he just getting into that next level trajectory where, shoot, he's got a lot more ceiling to get into? Next interception for USF, second one coming here. Gets pressure in his face. Again, Cam Ward's always lazy with his drop. He's not going to be a guy that's got clean footwork. You got to like that he's comfortable. The other side's slow, not strict footwork. And what I mean by that is kind of the base isn't always rock solid. That can lead to some mechanical flaws later on. See this play one more time. He's going to get pressure in his face. This is a good ball, though. Tommy, ball out now. That's all on the receiver. That's a drop by the receiver. This is an absolute dime. It's maybe a little outside of his body. I love the anticipation here. I love the fact that he's getting pressure right down his face. There's no sense of panic. He's trusting his offensive line. He knows he's protected. He hangs in the pocket, throws this with anticipation. He's already decided to pull the trigger on this throw. If he waits at all, this safety gets involved and then he gets into trouble. That's a perfect ball. That's an NFL throw. That should not be an interception. Cam Ward should have 6 interceptions instead of 7 interceptions there. Pick number 3, going to the Virginia Tech game. Again, that same similar pressure look. Ooh, tried to get sneaky on a wheel route. This is one of those things. I used to always hate these plays. When I was a QB, we would call it salsa at USC. And the reason I hate this play is you're going bunch formation into the boundary, 3 receivers into the boundary. The advantage of that is you're creating chaos and forcing this defense to communicate on the bottom of their screen. The problem, though, is exactly what happens here. It's a condensed field. There's not a lot of grass to work with. So as a quarterback, you have to make this decision early. But the problem with that is Cam's throwing this ball before the receiver even gets out of his double move. This DB then disconnects, runs off, and he's ultimately going to make this interception. But it's so hard to process. You're trusting that the receivers are going to run off the DBs. But if this DB has any sort of football IQ, he breaks off and ultimately makes this interception. It's exactly what happens here. To say it differently, there's a world where this looks like a genius anticipatory throw. It's well read. It's a great concept because he gets the ball on time. But this is just a great pass off by the DB. Don't love that kind of call so close to the end zone because it's so compact and you have to make decisions so quickly without necessarily having all the information. So how I read this is interception. This is on Cam Ward. He's got to be aware of, hey, the negative factors that can come off of this. But I don't see this interception as a guy getting overwhelmed, a guy not necessarily making or not understanding the read. This is just a bang football play. Obviously, you'd like to have it back, but I just don't love the call with this progression that tight to the red zone. To me, if I'm the Titans, this is just football. If I'm the OC for the Titans, I'm saying, hey, I'll coach and call a better play. This isn't overly confusing to me. Should that be the back pylon? It's a good point. So I always look at the DB's leverage here. No, I don't mind it. Again, I just think it's bang because he's sensing that soft coverage painted on the back shoulder. In his mind, he's protecting his receiver and not letting the DB get involved. Right there, as you can see, that DB is ahead of the receiver. So again, I don't necessarily mind the back shoulder. I just think to everything I said, I think it's a bad spacing and all that. If he goes over the top, you can make the argument that the DB is already over the top, so it's not really necessarily going to do anything by meeting you at the back pylon. Check out his footwork. Look, see, it's sloppy. See, you could make the argument that if his footwork wasn't as loose and his footwork timed up with his arm motion, maybe he's able to feel the DB break off a little bit more and bring the ball back under. Like, watch this little hop at the end. So he goes 1, 2, 3, and then gets long and kind of does like the double pad or like the little double. It's like a 3-step drop and then 2 baby steps. You don't need the 2 baby steps. Maybe it gets him off balance. Right? So it's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 little baby steps. That's just a bad drop. That's a bad drop. You're going the next week into the film room being like, hey, Cam, we need to work on footwork drills. Because when your feet time to the route progression, sometimes the play doesn't speed up on you. Versus if you're either too slow with your drop, then sometimes you're too slow and your brain speeds up and you have to quicken up your feet at the very last second, and then it can force that more kind of urgent throw. Versus if right there, if he took a quick 5 and allowed the play to develop, maybe he doesn't make that decision. But number 2 versus Virginia Tech, again getting pressure, again trusting his protection there. That is a crappy throw. Let's check it again. Looks like they're working a little scissors concept. Bad throw. Similar theme though. So right, if I'm the Titans, I'm looking at, hey, what themes come out when Cam Ward is throwing interceptions? This is back-to-back plays in the very same game where Cam is expecting a defender to run with one of his routes. The defender breaks off and he gets caught like, crap. I tried to do the right thing as a quarterback. I tried to have an anticipation throw to the outside, but the DB is also playing football. He also has football IQ. He breaks off and makes this interception. Watch the corner on the top of the screen. Cam's expecting this corner to run with the post all the way through. Corner doesn't elect to do that, breaks off, and it ends up being an easy pick. A pick as if, hey, it's like, what are you doing? Like, it looks terrible, but that's what happens. Gets pressure to his left. I like that he doesn't get panicked with the pressure. He's trusting his protection. He knows he's good to go. Right here, he's expecting this corner and this safety to go with the post over the top, and he's expecting this slot receiver to be wide open with the linebacker behind it. It's a misread. Would rather him come down either to his check down or his dig. I'd be curious, like if I was the Titans, I'm bringing up those last 2 interceptions, and I would hope that Cam walks through those interceptions exactly like I said. Poor footwork on the first one. If he has better footwork, he might not feel rushed to make that throw. Second one right here. Ooh, he had a little audible. What was that? So this is interesting. Where my head goes right now, like evaluating this. He's doing something, right? He has a guy going in motion. He goes some audible to his head and looks to his right. To me, is he pre-playing the play in his mind right there? Is he saying, hey, I have something that I like on the outside. Let me give that signal. And before he's even reading the defense, he's already pre-playing the play in his mind. That's how you get in trouble at the quarterback spot. Because yeah, that's a tough look right there. Again, his footwork is not good. That'd be the biggest concern I'd have. Like day one walking into the building is like, yo, that is a recipe for bad mechanics all the time. And this is the worst one right here. Cal, this is the one that got a bunch of pub trying to make a play down in this ball game. But like all the classic cliches from the quarterback spot, you get flushed out, don't throw across your body, don't try to do too much, don't try to play out of system. Throws the ball with literally 4 Cal defenders right around it. Terrible interception. Again, you like the fact that it's, hey, your quarterback trying to make a play and he's super athletic, but this is a terrible pick. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. This is the most concerning one for me by far is the, especially for those of you guys on YouTube, I can see the comments over there. Yeah, that throw is absolutely terrible. Like, it's one thing to have confidence. It's like that play could have easily lost in the game. I don't know how they somehow made a comeback, but like that pick easily could have decided their college football playoff fate. Easily could have lost that game. Wouldn't even been in the conversation for the CFP late. Same exact thing as it was versus Cal. These are terrible interceptions. Can't do it. Terrible decision. You're getting hit. You're throwing the ball across the way. Like, terrible decision. Right here versus, this is the Duke one. Gets flushed out to his right. No one's open. Trying to make a play. Throw the ball away. This as an offensive coordinator, though, would get me intrigued because I'm like, dude, I like my quarterback having a little swagger. I like my QB thinking that he can make every single throw. This is where like the Mahomes comps come in. This is where like, all right, this guy's got some savvy to him. Every single interception we've seen so far, that's a little far of shovel pass. You can see it here from the back end. Every single interception we've seen so far is Cam Ward doing too much. It's not Cam Ward making a bad read. It's not Cam Ward being overwhelmed by the playbook or by the reads, which you can, right? There's a lot of interceptions that I look up like, hey, that quarterback had no idea where his eyes were going. That quarterback had no idea what he was seeing. Hey, that quarterback was looking at the zone side when he should have been looking at the man side. None of these interceptions are that for Cam Ward. Like I said, every single one of them, there's one drop, and then there's 5 just dudes doing too much. Got to rein that in. He won't even have the ability to do too much in the NFL because a lot of those are like him getting flushed out of the pocket and then being like let me throw across my body and all that. The athletes in the NFL are just way too good for that. And then there was the one outlier there. So in terms of the 7 interceptions for Cam Ward, if I'm the Titans, there's no concern that the NFL is going to be, too big or some huge groundbreaking, like, man, this is a big deal. I point to, don't do too much. If I'm a coach, I'm saying I can coach that out of my quarterback. And then 2, it's his footwork. Footwork. That's the thing he's got to dial in. There's a difference between being comfortable and being smooth and being what looks like getting cozy in the pocket, and then that working against you where you don't have fundamentals you can get back to. You don't have a strong base, and then it ultimately gets out of hand with your mechanics.